It's show week. And you know what that means. Ignite Wrestling is just about to reach its breaking point before Buckle Up Free. We need to preview that and talk a little bit about the last show. And to do that, of course, I'm with Ignite promoter CJ Carter. Evening, CJ.
Hello, good evening. Yeah, we're like 6 days away from breaking point, and yeah, hot off the press. Kind of officially announced now, as you said, like the worst kept secret in British wrestling. Buckle Up Free is back, bigger, badder, and what is it? What's the
Better,
tagline?
better, bigger,
Big.
better, better.
There you go. Third time. Yeah, both crazy doing this again, but yeah, here we are.
Should have called it bigger, better, better, stressfuler than.
Yeah, it's been the most stressful planning of all three, I think. But it'll be fine. It's always fine. It's always fine. We'll get there.
It'll be all right on a night, as I used to say, right? Was that a program? It'll be all right.
Yeah,
It was, wasn't it? Before we get to breaking point, we need to talk about the last stand. Now, usually I'm very biased and say that Buckle Up was the best shows Ignite put on, but I have to say, and I think the general consensus following the last stand was bell to bell. That was probably the best show Ignite have put on.
yeah. I think so. I've obviously had that feedback from a few people that were there. Ollie, who does our comms and also is the progress commentator. Um, after he did our comms in post, he gave me a message to say, "Wow, yeah, that I think was your best show." And he's commentated all of our shows from day one and all of the Clash shows as well. And he thinks that stands up as the best show we've run in that venue. So that says a lot. Um, and it's just, every time we've said this a few times over the last few years, mostly about Buckle Up, our
Yeah.
shows we did together.
Yeah.
And you would expect that with the kind of caliber of talent that we bring in for that as like a one-off type thing we do every year. But this one, yeah, it definitely has set the bar across all shows, including the Buckle Ups, I think. And yeah, hopefully Breaking Point will match that bar, hopefully, and hopefully Buckle Up in September, Buckle Up Free will maybe top it again. But at some point, I mean, it's getting harder and harder
Yeah.
to keep topping that bar. But credit to all the talent on the shows. That's who it goes down to. I think it's a combination of a lot of them improving. Over the years, they were all good to begin with, all amazing. But it's getting to the point now where a lot of them are the best talent in the country. I don't think that's even arguable. And then on top of that, just how they're connecting with the audience as well as making a big difference. You look at how much the audience love people like Aluna and Tommy and Smashing Mike, and it's just, yeah, that really helps. I think so. The longer it goes, the more invested the crowd are, and the more talented everyone on the shows gets. So
Yeah, indeed. And also, you got to remember all the ones that are also the most hated by the crowd. And
exactly, yeah, exactly.
uh,
I think you can probably hand that over to Taylor right now and Tom, who yeah, they definitely hate those two. But you could throw a lot of people in that list, and yeah, whether it's Taylor, whether it's Tommy, whether they're booing, whether they're cheering, the crowd is super invested in everyone on the cards at the moment. And the caliber of the matches themselves, bell to bell, just biased. Obviously, we're both pretty biased.
yep.
I think it's up there with some of the best matches you'll see anywhere in the country. And look, I think if a lot of people would probably say Rev Pro is the number one promotion in the country right now. If it's not number one, it's certainly 1A alongside 1B and 1C. It's definitely in that category of the best. Whether it's alone there is debatable. But and then when you start seeing half of our roster being booked on their cards by the biggest promotion in the country, I think that says a lot, right? And we've been booking them since day one. So um yeah, CPF has been with us since day one. Taylor James has been with us since day one. The Bryants have been with us since day one, and these are all regulars on pretty much every show now for Rev Pro, and then obviously with Jay Joshua as well, and Aluna who's now doing a lot of their shows. It says I think it speaks for itself, right?
Absolutely. And we must shout out Nino Bryan, the British J Cup
Yeah,
winner, and now Rev Pro cruiserweight champion, the boy from Boreham Wood.
That's it. Yeah. Congrats to Nino Bryant and also to his brothers as well, to Zana and Leland, who are going to be in the British Tag League as well.
Yep.
So, but yeah, huge to have won the British Super J and then to go on and become the cruiserweight champion is just huge. I think it's not even debatable now who the best wrestler to come out of Bournemouth is. I don't think I'm. I think it's somewhat surpassed me there. I don't think I'll be catching him anytime soon. So.
Well, maybe not. But people now, we've mentioned how good the last show is. It gives a lot of pressure for the people on this show to deliver. I wanted to start with a match that we've had a change to, so you'll probably know where I'm going with this, and it's right behind me now. So it was scheduled to be Smashing Mike and Tyler Walker versus Chris Aries and Arthur Scaro. Now, the last show, Mike got a measure of revenge from the show previously when he did beat Mr. Happy behind me, Chris Aries. Still hasn't smiled yet. But the shocking thing at the end of that match was Arthur Scaro's allegiance. I called it an unholy allegiance at the time with Chris Aries, which led Mike to try to find a partner. He did, in someone that made a big impact. Although he wasn't successful in the breakout, he certainly made an impact at the last show. The Prince of Peckham himself, Tyler Walker. Now, unfortunately, as people may have seen, Arthur Scaro has actually got a really serious ACL injury that was going to keep him out of action for a very considerable amount of time. So obviously we send our best wishes to Arthur, and we hope that the surgery goes well and we see him back in Ignite Ring very, very soon. But that was a window of opportunity that opened, and you've told Chris Aries to find a partner. Now, I did try to get a word with Chris earlier on today and said, can you give us an insight as to who your partner is? And other than telling me to piss off, which I didn't really feel that was very nice of him, he did say that the partner he's bringing in is going to be a huge problem, not just to Mike and Tyler, but to Ignite Wrestling itself. So there we go. But should still be a great match, regardless of who Chris brings in.
Yeah, and I mean, no disrespect to Tyler and to Arthur there as well on the graphic, but the story here is Chris and Mike there right at the front. These two have been going at it now for was it 4 months, 6 months?
Yeah.
And yeah, this is becoming one of the kind of great rivalries of all of Ignite, and one that the crowd are super into. And they've had two incredible matches so far. And yeah, as you pointed out, Arthur came in at the end of the last match, which Mike got his win back and did a number on him. And I think everyone was a little bit surprised, a little bit shocked to see Scaro in there alongside Aries. But then actually, they seem pretty happy to be together. And I think that one dates back to Scaro's debut, where he came in and he wrestled Chris. And Chris did a kind of number on him post-match. But Scaro, I think, has decided that actually that's the kind of person I want to be aligned with. And actually, he would rather go down that path at Ignite to try and get success and align himself with someone like Aries, who's a former Ignite champion. And I was really excited to see where that was going to go, to be honest. Did they go about it the right way? No. Do they have a smile? No. Are they both constantly miserable? Yes. But are they both super talented in the ring? Absolutely, not arguable. And I was really excited to see where this tag team was going to go. But it's going to have to wait, be slightly postponed. We may still see Scaro in some capacity on Sunday. So, that is to be seen. And who Aries brings with him on Sunday, I don't know. So he's giving us some hints. I'm sure he will get on the mic and explain all come Sunday. And then on the other side of that, we got, the people's champ of Ignite, Smashing Mike, and Tyler Walker, who, man, did he impress on that last show. Like you pointed out, didn't come away with the win. But the reason he's complete honesty here, the reason he's in this match with Mike is because the crowd asked for it.
Yeah.
When Mike was jumped by Scaro and Aries, I think it was evident he was going to need to find some backup. And we had multiple requests from people in the crowd to say that get Tyler Walker in with Mike, get Tyler Walker in with Mike. come on, we want to see Walker and Mike go in there with Scurro and Aries. And it's like when you've got people coming to you saying that they want Walker back, that they want him to tag with, one of the most loved in Ignite. A, you can't really say no. You've got to give the people what they want. And two, what an impression he made. What an impression he made to come in, to not walk out with a victory, but to leave with the entire crowd wanting him back and wanting him back alongside Mike. So I'm really excited to see what he does second time round. I'm really excited to see what these two do together. And, well, who knows who Chris is bringing with him. And will this match finally see the end of this, bit of feud between Mike and Chris? I'm not so sure. I feel that this one's going to drag on further.
Yeah, me too. I certainly agree with that. And see, Tyler, what you see, you should have listened to me because on the preview to the last stand, I said that he reminded me of another version of Mike.
There you go. I think everyone in the crowd agreed clearly because they requested it, they called for it, they wanted these two to get in the ring tag together. So we're giving it to them.
Exactly.
Always got to give the fans what they want.
Exactly. Triple H, I'm available for scouting if you're interested. Anyway, but we mentioned the breakout.
Yeah.
And that leads me nicely to, I think, what is going to be one of the sought after or most exciting breakout matches. And that's not a disrespect to anybody that's been in the breakout, but these three guys behind me there, Tanner, Mack, and Williams, are three guys making a massive impact on the scene, the shows they've been in. And to put this together, if you could ask for a dream triple threat breakout match, the three people behind. Hopefully, I don't put too much pressure on them on their debuts, of course, to deliver. But my goodness me, this, we talk about match of the nights and stuff like that. This could be right up there with the best.
Yeah, and I think if there's any three people coming in for their debuts that can handle the pressure, it's these three. We've been keeping a close eye on them, for the breakout division. I've been looking around as I have been for every breakout division around the country to see what new talent is coming through and looking like they're going to, break out, be the next breakout stars, and who could come in and really complement the Ignite roster. And these three have shone, I think, above anyone else at the moment, to the point where I've had multiple people come to me over the last few months and recommend all three of these for Ignite and for the breakout division. Yeah, I mean, incredibly, incredibly impressive. Tanner and Mac are only just recently on the scene and have absolutely taken it by storm. If you haven't seen these two yet, you must have been, living under a rock because they are starting to be everywhere already. And Jaden Williams is someone actually who I have had my eye on for a long time. Actually, going back all the way back to the beginning of Ignite, pretty as far back as you can go. Took a little bit of a sabbatical, a little bit of a break from wrestling. He was focusing on his uni and his education. Smart move. Wanted to get all that sorted and under his belt, but he's back. He's back now. He's been back for the last 12 months, and he's looking better than ever. And I can finally get Jaden in as well now that he's back and committed to the scene again. Now that his uni work's finished, and yeah, I'm super excited for this one. Like, as you know, the breakout division just means so much to me, and it's so important to Ignite. And it's these three talents right here is what it's all about.
Yeah, definitely so. And people need to start taking. I mean, if people are not taking the breakout seriously, they need to if you look at the stars that have been in this and where they've gone. I'm not saying Ignite's a stepping stone without any stretch of the imagination, but if you look at it, the Ninos of this world, the Taylors and everybody else is
Mark True.
Mark True. Yeah, Mark True, even forgot about him. How could we
forget?
Xander
as well. Xander Bryant, Nino Bryant, Mark True, Taylor James, Smashing Mike, who may not have, taken that step up to Rev Pro, not just yet, but is without a doubt one of the biggest names in Ignite now. And I couldn't ever imagine a show without him on it, to be honest. And all of those names came through the breakout division. So, there's been some big names in it, and I think this year will be no different with the people we've seen so far, and especially with this one.
Going to be awesome. We mentioned the breakout division. It leads me nicely a little bit to someone that's already qualified for the breakout final, but has got arguably, probably his biggest test to date at Ignite. And the match that I would say is a sleeper pick
Yeah.
match of the night on Sunday. Obviously, Corey McRae has been on a wrecking ball machine. We thankfully, haven't seen any of Truman since Corey took him out a couple of shows ago. Corey won a great triple threat match last time. I think people are going to underestimate this match and maybe underestimate Tom Mercer. We haven't seen a lot of Tom yet. I mean, he's always been with Taylor for nearly about a year now, I think, at Ignite.
It's
And
over a year. Yeah, yeah. He actually started with Taylor last February. So now we're getting to about 18 months he's been at Ignite now. Yeah.
but and I've seen him of other events, as you know, and I don't know. Something tells me, and although Corey thinks Tom's 4 foot, which is quite hilarious when it comes to picture, I just think a lot of people. I just think a lot of people are underestimating, and maybe this is a bit of maybe a controversial. Maybe Corey's underestimating Tom a little bit.
It's quite possible. You know, Corey's coming into this as the longest reigning Ignite champion of all time. He held that title for 14 months. He was pretty much our first ever champion. And you know, he garnered a lot of respect for that run. He was one of the most hated people in Ignite, if not the most hated person in Ignite for almost that entire run. But by the time he came out of it, by the time he worked Luke Jacobs last year at last year's Buckle Up, the crowd were there, and the crowd were ready to embrace him. And that's just from pure respect of how good he is. So all that, you know, I'm saying all that because yes, he will be coming into it with maybe a little bit of a chip on his shoulder because he knows how good he is. He knows how good he is. And the fact that he held the title for that long proves it. The fact that the crowd respect him that much proves it. Obviously, he was away for, what was it, 6, 7, 8 months, something like that. July all the way through until he came back in February. So, and yeah, came back and made light work of Truman Roswell, who we have yet to see since that loss to Corey. Came in and defeated him in, I think, about 10 seconds. And then obviously at the last one had that absolutely stunning barn burner triple threat with Joe Lando and Kieran Lacey. So one fast but big win, and then one incredibly impressive performance and another win in that triple threat. So yeah, he'll be coming into this riding high of a lot of confidence, and maybe as you said, underestimating Tom slightly. Which, look, he's only had 2 matches under his belt at Ignite.
Mm-hmm.
He is currently, you would say, a breakout division star, going through the breakout division. He's in the final, as you pointed out, in November. But wow, there are big things coming for Tom, not just the Ignite, but on the entire scene. I was blown away by his debut for us in the tag match with Taylor James. It was, you know, I'd obviously seen him work. I've seen him alongside Taylor, but I've not really seen him firsthand, if you know what I mean. Like, you know, live, right there, right in front of me. And wow, I was blown away. It's not just his size, which is obviously so incredibly kind of like imposing and impressive, but like he can move in there as well. And he is a talented wrestler. And then with the triple threat at the last one, the breakout division, yeah, and that was an incredible, that match is what people are saying is the best breakout match we've had. And all three absolutely smashed it in there, including Tom. And now this is his kind of, you know, cliche, maybe a bit, you know, but this is his breakout moment, I think. And I know technically that should be November, the final. He could, you know, maybe he'll walk out the winner, who knows. And people will be talking about that match as a breakout moment for whoever's in that and whoever wins that. But for me, right now, looking at this, going up against Corey, this could be his breakout moment. Yeah. And imagine if he was to defeat Corey. Imagine if he was to defeat the longest reigning Ignite champion of all time. And that kind of the confidence that would give him to go into November into the final.
Would it be wrong for me to say if he were to beat Corey? Because not many people have in Ignite. No. Not one-on-one. Maybe Tommy Kyle.
Short list. It's a short list. One-on-one, we're talking Luke Jacobs.
Tommy Kyle.
When did Tommy Kyle beat Corey?
The title, no?
No, that was triple threat.
Of course it was. Gene did.
Gene did, yes. Yes, correct. Gene, yeah. So Gene is beating him one on one. Luke Jacobs is beating him one on one. And I think that might be the list. I'm trying. If there's anyone else on it, is yes, maybe one more at best. It's a short list of people who have beaten Corey one on one in that ring, not in a triple threat or not in a multi-person. Um, and wow, yeah, if Tom Mercer could add his name to the list of Gene Money and Luke Jacobs, you know, do you know what I mean?
Good list to be on. But
Good list to be on.
I was going where I was going with that is, does he not then really start? You know, I know breakout division, he's in the final, and that is that. But is he not knocking on the door for a championship opportunity if he beats Corey McRae?
That is a very good question. One will have to cross if he does manage to walk out victorious, I guess, because I'm sure he'll be asking for it. I mean, imagine he beats Corey and then wants a title shot, gets a title. Imagine he ends the year as the champion and the breakout division winner. I mean, it's possible. I guess it's entirely possible. I guess we'll have to see where this takes him if he can defeat Corey. But yeah, I mean, his name will have to be in the running, I guess.
God, the thought of Tom Mercer being a champion and potentially we'll get to Taylor in a minute. That could be a Jesus. Yeah, we'll think about that in a minute. But you mentioned Joe Lando very nicely. So it's very nicely intertwining towards what, again, if you're looking at tag matches and matches of the night and all of that jazz, look no further than this. So full disclosure for everyone, we did forget to mention this at the start of the show. Mark's lost our championship. What a shame. Um, to be fair though, and I always say this, Mark was a great champion,
Yeah, absolutely.
regardless of everything, and regardless of been being a pain in my ass or our ass for nearly the year or so that he was champion. Aluna won it, which we'll get to in a minute. But he's back probably where he feels, and say where he feels most comfortable, but he's back probably doing what he does best in a tag team match with his close personal friend Kieran Lacey, of course, against close personal friends. That is Joe Lando and Danny Black. And I believe this is a type of match that potentially could grace the tag team tournaments elsewhere. That's going to start to happen very very soon as well. But True and Lacey CPF. I mean, number two. We've had one, which Mark did retain the championship, much to his. Is that when he threw the title at me?
That is when
Yeah.
he dashed the title at you and decided that he was not coming back until we gave him an opponent that he was happy with. Shot off to Noah in Japan. Yeah.
Then we gave him the opponent he was happy with, and he lost. Imagine that. Imagine that.
Be careful
But
what you ask for. Be careful what you ask
yeah,
for. That's all I can say.
yeah, indeed, that is the case. But this match, I mean, this match is worth admission money on its own. With these four are going to tear the house down Sunday.
Yeah, and like you said, so this is the rematch from November,
Mhm.
and that was the first time that these two had ever worked each other. And it was an instant classic, as you would well imagine, with these four men and these two tag teams. As you pointed out, there is every chance, I'm sure, you'll be seeing this in the British Tag League as well for Rev Pro at some point, more than likely. They're both in it. And that just goes to show the caliber of these four men. And yeah, they've got history, obviously, with the match in November, but even going back to the last show where it was Corey and Lacey and Lando in the triple threat. And I think Joe felt like he had that match won.
Yeah.
And then Lacey came in with a I guess you could call it legal low blow. It's a triple threat, no
Yeah,
DQ,
no DQ.
and made sure that Joe wasn't going to walk out victorious in that one. That backfired, and Corey came in, Black Mass. That was the end of Lacey. But Joe will be thinking that he had that match won, and if it wasn't for him coming in and giving him a low blow, then he would have been walking out with that victory in the last show. And so, yeah, he's gone and pulled in his very close personal friend Danny Black, who we are obviously massive fans of. And
Yeah.
both of these two men, always amazing to have them both on our shows. The fans love them. The entrance just gets the whole place rocking every time. And here we go, round two for what, for me, I feel like if they can top the first one, could be the best tag match anyone will ever see anywhere in the country. And True's going to want to get a win back. he is, and Lacey lost, True lost on the last show. They both want to get win back, but especially True after holding that title for what was it, 10 months, something like that. So he won it in July all the way through until May. So yeah, 10 months. Although didn't defend it in February because he decided that it was beneath him, but whatever. That kind of backfired on him. So we have to see if they can, if True and Lacey can make it 2 for 2, see if they can pick up some wins, or whether close personal friends will get their win back.
We will see. It will be an amazing match, regardless of
Yeah, and regardless of the result, everyone's in for a treat. Everyone, myself included. Myself
Yes.
included.
I'll be glued to it outside, out from the back. I'll be watching it definitely with bated breath for sure. But we did mention on there. We're doing very well with mentioning things that leads to something, which is really really good. That True did lose the championship in the last show,
Correct.
quite possibly to the most loved, hardest working, nicest, sweetest person you could ever meet in your entire life. That being Luna right there. A little bit of emotional scene backstage when she won it, fully deserved. The fact that she won it.
Mhm.
She gave me a list, Luna, of people. And some of these things, we said this with Mark just now, be careful what you wish for.
Mm.
She did ask for Nightshade as one of the many people on her list. They had a little to do last time. I go, maybe buckle up,
That was
maybe
Buckle Up last year, yeah. The tag
buckle
match,
up.
Nightshade and Sapphire against Artemis and Aluna, yeah.
Yeah. So she wanted a Nightshade again. So we're duly obliged. Is she maybe biting off a little bit more than she can chew this early in her title reign?
Well, I think what you're going to get with Aluna. She's going to want to test herself.
Yeah.
She doesn't want the easy way out of anything,
No.
and she, absolutely not. And she's had to prove herself. She's continually had to prove herself, at Ignite and everywhere else. And I think without a shadow of a doubt, she has proved herself to be one of the most, as you pointed out, one of the most hardest working, but also one of the most talented
Yeah.
workers in the country right now. And now she finally has some gold over her shoulder to prove it. After the fans at Ignite have been absolutely, chomping at the bit to see her get that big win. She's came so close so many times to that big win, and also to become the first female champion at Ignite as well. A few people had asked me over the years, "You can have a women's championship, you can have a women's championship," and I was like, you know what? I feel like the women at Ignite can win any of the titles. That's the way I see it. That's the way I've always seen it, to be honest. And that's the way I want to keep it for now. Will it change in the future? Who knows? Anything can change. And obviously, we do have intergender matches. We do have women's matches, and Aluna proved herself against the men in the in Ignite, but also she's proved herself against everyone.
Yeah.
And Nightshade is coming in from not only an incredibly successful tour in Japan again, but she's now currently the Eve champion as well. So and that's huge. And this is going to be an enormous test for her. Obviously, she got the win in the tag match last year, as we've mentioned. But the caveat to that, I feel like, is that there was a lot of kind of animosity and disagreement between Sapphire and Nightshade, which kind of led to that win and led to Nightshade losing that match with Sapphire. And so I think Nightshade's going to want to prove herself in the singles as well, because there's no one to distract her in this one.
Mm.
And one-on-one is a very different thing to a tag match where the two people that you're working in that tag match are not getting on and there are disagreements. And that is going to have a big impact on the match. So can Aluna do it one-on-one with one of, if not the best female talent in the world, I would say, with the success she's had in Japan, but also just one of the most impressive talents, full stop, male or female, there is. So,
Big
yeah.
one. Big test for
Big
Aluna.
one, huge test, huge. I'm trying to think. I mean, you could maybe argue Nina Samuels is as big, if not bigger, but certainly it's close. It's very close. This could well be the biggest test she's ever had at Ignite, even against, even with the match against True on the last show. This is a whole different type of test. Yeah, probably the biggest one she's had so far, I would say. And the pressure of being champion now as well adds a lot to that, and will make it even harder because anyone who's been in the ring or has been a champion will know that once you get that gold over your shoulder or around your waist, it does add a whole another layer to going out there and having to perform and having to win. Yeah.
We'll find out on Sunday. Uh, and then a culmination, I would say, that the main event, the big one, the opportunity that Taylor earned to a degree. Well, he did earn it. Let's not be. He wanted to put Ghost to bed on the last show. I think Shenley Road is still picking up the pieces from that
Oh,
last man standing match with Jack Torino at the last show. Jesus, that was. I think I said it. I did say it on the on the result on the like the review that that last man standing should have been on TV. It would have graced a television
yeah.
show. Regard of any company. To be fair, but the one thing Taylor, or one maybe the one thing that's eluded Taylor all of this time, he's had his wars with you, he's had his wars with Nino, he's had to beat his old tag partners, had to do everything. But the one thing that Taylor's always wanted at Ignite was the World Championship. And he's had to maybe come around and do it in a maybe a longer way by winning that opportunity from the briefcase. But he's now got that opportunity against probably the most red hot guy on the
Yeah.
independents right now in Tommy Kyle. He has beaten the who's who of wrestling at Ignite for sure. We've seen him against the Mayfairs of this world, and Spike Trevay's Joe Kessler in the last
Connor
show.
Mills, we had Connor Mills as
Mills.
well. And obviously Gene Money was in the triple threat last year at Buckle Up. So you've had Gene Money, then Connor Mills, then Spike Trevay, then Tate Mayfairs, then Joe Kesler. My goodness, that is like it's mental. It's a who's who of British talent right now. And every single one of them, Tommy's came out on top, and every single time the crowd are behind him, just that little bit more each time.
Mm.
Um, yeah, he is on fire right now, on fire. He's having the run of his life and the run of the entire history of Ignite right now. Um, and that's not just in terms of the wins, but the performances he's putting in as well, because he's had to do it against the best, and I think he's learning something every time.
Yeah.
Every time he's working these people who are the best in the country, he's coming away and he's taking something from that, and he's just adding another little layer, another little notch on the belt. Yeah, like you said with Taylor, it's taken him a while to get here. He was on our very first show in the breakout division, no less, against the great Bournemouth boy himself, Nino Bryant. And yeah, from that day onwards, he has said that he is here to run Ignite and to hold that championship. And he had to kind of get through me to do that. But yeah, he's had his wars with myself and with Nino Bryant and with his former tag partner Jack Torino, who together they held every tag title there is to hold. And we're not just tag partners, but best friends. And he said he wanted to put that to bed on the last one, and I think he well and truly put that to bed. And I don't know if anyone wants to see a match like that Ignite again. It was
Oh, I do.
it was impressive, but brutal, absolutely brutal. And even for me, as someone who's been around wrestling a long time and has been in the ring and has been in street fights, I've had a street fight with Taylor myself. But even for me, that was uncomfortable viewing a lot of that. It was uncomfortable stuff in that match happened. You know, I don't know if I want to see again at Ignite, to be honest. And I truly mean that. They probably both left something in that ring that they're never going to get back. But he's now here. He's finally got to the top of the pile. He's finally getting his title match. And actually, if you go back to the last show, it was Tommy Kyle who offered this match to him and said, "Look, after he'd beaten Joe Kesler, he said, 'Look, I've had enough of you walking around with that briefcase, teasing that you're going to tag it, teasing that you're going to cash it in, sorry, and not doing it. So if you want this title that bad, then bring that briefcase at breaking point, get in the ring with me, and cash in at the next show.'" And here we are. Taylor said that's exactly what he's going to do. He said that's exactly what he's going to do. He's going to come out at breaking point, cash in that briefcase, and we will finally have a title match between Taylor James and Tommy Kyle.
I have to say, like with that, and Taylor could have done this after a lot of matches. There's no doubt about it. For Taylor to want to do it, man on man,
Mm.
I have to say there's a slight bit of respect there from me because he's not taking the easy route out
Mm.
of this match. He's doing it the manly way, the way it should be done.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, I didn't expect that of him, to be honest, having been in the ring with him myself. Doesn't isn't one to play by the rules, but maybe he's just had enough. Maybe he just wants to prove himself at this point. 12 months carrying that briefcase around. And also, when someone calls you out like that, I don't know if you have much choice, to be honest. When Tommy kind of laid the gauntlet down and said, look, if you want this title that bad, just bring the goddamn briefcase at breaking point and we'll do this. And it's hard to kind of back out from that. So yeah, okay, but fair play to him. He is going to do it one on one in the ring in an official match with the bell rings, and it's not going to be like he's coming swooping in and just cashing that briefcase in at the very end of a very hard fought match that Tommy's managed to get through. So might backfire, could backfire on him, and Tommy will be going into this show as well as 12 months as champion. This show will mark a full year as champion after he won it last year in July in that triple threat with Chris Aries and Gene Money. And if he can come out of this undefeated, he will match Corey's 14-month reign, because by the time we get round to September, it'll be 14 months. And I'm sure that'll be playing on his mind too. I'm sure, everyone, they say that it doesn't matter that much, but it does really. You do think about these things. He will be thinking, oh, if I can just get through this one, that's it. I will equal Corey's record and I'll be the joint longest reigning champion. So we'll see.
We will see on Sunday. There is limited tickets available still. 96, the usual place, 96 Eventbrite. Type in a breaking point, actually, and you can get yourself a ticket for Sunday. But if you can't go and you want to go to the next one, that's Buckle Up free. We've already mentioned it before. Tickets are already on sale and selling. I think it's getting a name for itself, right? Every time you hear the word Buckle Up, everyone expects, well.
Yeah, we made a rod for our own backs with that one. Obviously, you came in July of 23 and we started this partnership and we ran the first show together. And it was a huge success. And I still credit it as being the reason that Ignite's gone on to be as successful as it is. It really gave us that boost, it really gave us, we're doing all right. It's not like we were doing terrible, but after that, there was a change that you just felt it. There was just a change. There was a change in the way people saw us and the kind of level that people saw us at, and the way tickets were selling and the amount and the names of talents that wanted to come in after that. It just changed. And then we obviously did it again last year and we managed to top the first year, which we weren't sure we'd be able to do. That we topped it in terms of, I think, in-ring quality, but also in terms of ticket sales. We sold the most tickets we've ever sold and still have not matched yet at that show. We were cramming in seats anywhere and everywhere we could get them. And so here we are, third time. I mean, WrestleMania 3 was the biggest of all the WrestleManias, right? So that was the one that really, so we need to find our Andre and Hogan, and maybe this one will be it. Maybe this will turn us into, maybe we'll be knocking on knocking on TKO's door next. I don't know. Who knows? But I joke. But yeah, this is the third one, and we've got to somehow manage to top the first and the second, and have our WrestleMania 3 moment.
We will try. If anything, we'll try. But what we can announce already is what we announced the other day. We do have some big returns. You mentioned Gene Money. He is back. Buckle up. The poster still kills me with him on there. But also making his return, and a lot of people will be happy by this. Mr. Charles Crowley will be back at Ignite.
Yeah. I haven't seen either of those two since last year's Buckle Up, and keep getting asked, when are they coming back? When are we going to see them again? And I've had a lot of people. Obviously, Crowley was meant to be at last September's show, but had some health issues, so couldn't be there. And people were quite disappointed in that. And that's I understand that. He's he's one of the most popular wrestlers in the country and has been for some time. So we're finally going to get him back. Finally going to get him inside 96 Shenley Road again. And everyone who's been desperate to see him again. Here's your moment. Obviously a huge debut as well.
We're about to get to that. Maybe this debut has one eye on the Aluna Nightshade match. Who knows?
Highly possible.
But she is the best thing out of Hull since Dean Windass, and she is as strong as Yorkshire tea. She used to be a cheeky little bugger, but now she stands alone, and that is Miss Alexis Falcon will be debuting at Ignite.
Huge
One
lady.
on my list. I don't know about your list, but she was one on my list to wanted to bring in. And
Yeah,
obviously,
absolutely. Like it's huge for us to be able to, whenever we get people of that caliber coming in, it's always kind of humbling for me, and it means a lot because I know that as hard as we try, I know that Ignite's not quite up there with like the biggest promotions in the country yet. I'd love to get there one day, and we can't always have every single card filled with the biggest names. But when we do get the people like Falcon coming in, it means so much to me, and it adds so much to the shows, and all of our fans appreciate it so much. So yeah, it's a big deal. It truly is a big deal. And you're right, she probably does have an eye on that Nightshade Aluna match, because I'm sure she'll want your gold around her waist. So
well, we will see. But yes, there's more. Listen, when we can announce more, we will. We'd love to be able to throw. We don't want to put all our eggs in one basket straight away. That's for sure. We're not going to do that. And when we can give you some more news and maybe announce some matches, who knows? We might be in a position to announce match Sunday. Who knows? Who knows? We'll see. We might keep you waiting. But anyway, we're going to start wrapping up now, of course, as we do. Just need to make a few little bits about what's coming up on the channel soon. I did announce this yesterday, actually, and it's a sort of social media. They're artists, Dave Bartomoli and Will Scar, who, if you go on to Spotify, they done an album called If We Wrote the Theme, and it was based on wrestling themes, and they basically do cover songs of wrestling themes. Go and have a look at that on Spotify. They're coming on the show soon. I've got a TikTok sensation as well coming on with over 4 million likes on TikTok. Her name is Renee. She does a lot of these wrestling stuff on TikTok, and they're quite fun. So go and follow her. Hey, it's Renee. Go and follow her. And then in terms of wrestlers, or
check that out right now. You keep going, Adam. Sorry.
you keep going. Obviously, big thanks to Tom Latimer that we interviewed last week. So that interview will be dropping Wednesday or Thursday this week. So you'll be able to listen and hear from the NWA World Heavyweight Champion, Tom Latimer. That was a part of our NWA 100, our special 100th episode of NWA with the man that is Tom Latimer. The one that I can announce coming soon, I believe she's a former, or at least a former champion in the WWE. Layla will be coming on very soon. I mean, she's English as well. She was literally born in England. Anyway, so she'll be coming on. That'll be about it that I can announce for now. Anyway, there may be more coming on very soon. And you can also catch me on Worldwide Wrestling UK alongside PDC Dart star Matthew Edgar, who may well just be at Buckle Up as well. We do little bits and pieces. We do little 5-minute segments on that. So go and follow us at Worldwide Wrestling UK. Go and follow Ignite at Ignite Rest Pro everywhere. And you can look on their YouTube and they'll have, is the matches on there, Chris?
The last show?
Yep.
Not all. We'd do it up to any day now. We'll probably see Tommy Carr and Joe Kesler, and before Sunday, you will get that insane, crazy last man standing match between Taylor James and Jack Torino. But the other 4 matches are up on the Spinebuster Media YouTube channel.
Yep.
And by Sunday, the other 2 will be there as well. So yeah, if you want to sit down on Saturday and rewatch the whole last show before Sunday's show, why not? That would be a great way to get ready for it. And as you pointed out, there are just a small handful of remaining tickets. 96.eventbrite.co.uk as usual.
Yeah, go and get them, because you're not going to, well, if you miss it, you're going to miss out. There's going to be a lot going on this week as Ignite reaches breaking point ahead of Buckle Up 3. I'll be back to review that show on Monday. We'll be back. Well, I'll see you Sunday, of course, CJ. But we'll also be back later on, or in September, to do the Buckle Up 3 preview, which should be a load of fun and games. But until then, everybody, he has been CJ Carr from Ignite. I have been, of course, the front man of this blinking podcast, Adam Cousins from the Hitting the Turnbuckle podcast. We'll see you all Sunday if you're there. If not, we'll catch you down the road sometime soon. Until then, everybody, buckle down, stay safe, and good night.